Hello, I'm Prajanma and you're watching Edexlive. The second year of the COVID-19 pandemic was in no way easier on any of us, and the worst affected in these couple of years have been the students. Some good, some bad, some worse. We take a look at 12 major issues and events that made news in India's education sector in 2021. First up, reopening schools and colleges. This was really the conundrum for many states for a long time. While school closures caused immense learning loss and a huge number of dropouts, the question was whether it was safe to open schools in the middle of the raging pandemic. Karnataka saw an influx in COVID cases whenever they reopened schools. Students got infected and so did teachers. While some major states like Delhi and Tamil Nadu resumed classes right at the beginning of the year, states like West Bengal waited till November to do so. But with the new Omicron variant raging across India and states like Maharashtra imposing strict restrictions even on New Year's Eve, is it time for another long-term closure? The Education Ministry saw a change of guard this year. Ramesh Pokhriyal handed over his duties to Dharmendra Pradhan in July. While Pokhriyal brought in the new national education policy, Pradhan is now in charge of implementing it across country and institutions. CBSE made a pattern change after a year of uncertainty and haphazard examinations at all levels. Students will now appear for the exam twice and answer questions based on only 50% of the syllabus each time. The first term will have MCQs, while the second term exams will have both descriptive and objective questions. The pandemic forced a digital shift that would have taken more than a decade to be adopted. While this hastened the developmental process and the edtech sector saw an unprecedented and unforeseen boom, it also deepened the socio-economic divide. Not everyone in India has access to internet yet. Internet penetration here is still at around 37%. Digitisation is not only isolated a major chunk of learners, but also forced a lot of them out of schools and colleges. The country also saw massive protests due to this. But the government has to date maintained that its portals have helped lakhs of students continue their education. Those who were left out is not yet accounted for. Next, we come to the issue of dropouts, one of the major consequences of the pandemic and lockdowns. The Right to Education Forum's policy brief said that about 1 crore girl students were at risk of dropping out right at the beginning of the year. In August, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said in the Lok Sabha that 15 crore children were out of the education system at the time, with the dropout rate standing at 17%. Campuses of schools, colleges and universities have been shut for over a year. The digital divide had made things worse and students were dropping out. This pushed students and teachers to demand reopening campuses. There were widespread protests and some of the campuses reopened while some like DU didn't budge to the protests. But with the rising COVID numbers, campuses like JNU have suspended offline classes again and shut their library. Marx jihad. Well, if you want to incite hatred about an issue in India, add the word jihad to it. That seems to be the going trend. The term Marx jihad, coined and used against students from Kerala and the Kerala State Education Board by a Delhi University professor, sparked a severe political controversy in October. Students from the Kerala board had scored very high marks, including several of them scoring a perfect score. This resulted in a huge chunk of them securing seats in the very first phase of the Delhi University admissions. Students from other boards said that they were being left out because of Kerala's Marx jihad. Students from the state were also harassed and heckled. Caste slurs were hurled across campuses this year and IITs were at the helm of it. It started off with an IIT Kharagpur professor abusing SC and ST students of their caste identities. This was back in May 2021. While there were other cases of casteism on Indian campuses, the one that made it to national headlines next was when an assistant professor from IIT Madras quit, allegedly due to the caste discrimination that he had faced at the Humanities and Social Science Department. Deepa Mohanan, a PhD scholar at the Mahatma Gandhi University, went on hunger strike against caste discrimination from Dr. Nandakumar Kalarikal and also accused the university's VC. Dr. Kalarikal was soon removed from the post. Dogs are man's best friend. Not in IIT Madras though, it would seem. IIT Madras was heavily criticized after 57 dogs died in its shelter. While there were a few who supported them, the entire country, including the Tamil Nadu finance minister, criticized the incident. The pandemic had frozen life for over a year. While no one was stepping out of their homes, it is evident that university student union elections won't take place. This made the current JNUSU hold office for probably the longest time, and a few of them have even left the institution and moved on. But they still hold their posts. The current office bearers, including JNUSU President Oishi Ghosh, were elected in 2019 and have since been in office. An election is long pending and the students hope they will see a new union soon. President Ramnath Kovind appointed new vice chancellors to 12 central universities this year. These appointments were long pending. But one of the appointments still pending, even though the term has ended, is that of the VC of JNU. Dr. Mamidala Jagdish Kumar still holds the post even amid severe protests and clashes with the student community. In yet another interesting election result for the Delhi University Teachers Association, a candidate of the RSS-affiliated National Democratic Teachers Front has been elected to the post of the president of the Delhi University Teachers Association. This is the first time after 24 years that a candidate from the right-affiliated teachers group was voted as the president. Dr. A.K. Bhagi of the NDTF defeated his nearest rival, Dr. Abhadev Habib of the Democratic Teachers Front by a margin of 1,382 votes. The year 2021 did not have too many good pieces of news as far as education is concerned. Will things normalize in 2022? Will that help stabilize the tumultuous and changing education landscape in India? Answer to these will hopefully be found this year. It's a wait we need to endure. Thank you for joining in. Have a happy new year. Don't forget to wear your mask and stay safe.